Double amputee Olympic runner Oscar Pistorius has been granted parole 10 years after shooting his girlfriend Reeva Steenkamp dead at his home in South Africa in an episode which jolted the world. A Department of Corrections spokesperson said Pistorius would be released from his detention on January 5th. Pistorius, who turned 37 this week, has been in jail since late 2014, although he was released for a period of house arrest in 2015 while the appeals process was being played out. He was ultimately convicted of murder and sentenced to 13 years and 5 months in prison. The family of Reeva Steenkamp accepted the decision.
Just like all other parolees, Mr. Pistorius will be monitored by our officials based within the system of community corrections, and until that will happen until such time that his sentence expires, because we always make it a point that parole placement does not mean the end of a sentence, but it merely says that you will complete your sentence outside of a correctional facility, which is part and parcel of rehabilitation efforts.
And we want to live in a country where those rules and regulations are applied evenly across the board without fear or favour. And if those are the rules and Pistorius has met the requirements, then so be it.
Oscar Pistorius was the epitome of hard work, determination and ambition. Not satisfied with his success in the Paralympics, the man known as the Blade Runner successfully lobbied to compete in the able-bodied event. In 2012, he became the first double amputee to participate in the Olympic Games. In doing so, he quickly became the darling of South Africa, an athletics rock star and a global icon. That was until February 14, 2013, when his world came crashing down. Nobody could quite believe it.
One thing that struck me of Oscar was that he was very motivated. The fact that he had a disability, I think, was actually an additional motivation for him to work harder. So he was actually a much more hard worker than the average athlete, more dedicated, and he had something to prove. He wanted to show the people that his disability is not making him a weaker person. And I think that was one of his attributes that he had, the fact that he wanted to prove everybody wrong, show that he can actually run with the best.
The court case would capture the imagination of the world. Pistorius was sentenced to 5 years, but this was extended to 13 years and 5 months by the Supreme Court of Appeal. The sporting star's reputation was in tatters.
When you look at the numbers that were being bandied about back in 2012, 2013, what his earning potential would have been into the Rio Olympics, and the Rio Olympics would have almost been his real, the homecoming of Oscar Pistorius as an athlete. You would guess that he would have won some more medals. It really would have made him the sort of quintessential athlete, Paralympic athlete of his generation. And I have no doubt that that would have led to enormous ongoing endorsements, even into his post-competitive years.
His brand primarily represented hope. It was a brand that could say you could come from any environment, any disability, and get into what we call the normal environment. And I'd like to see, what he comes up with, because it's going to be quite a mammoth task, to get people believing in him again, to forgive him.
In March of this year, Pistorius was denied parole. Nobody much cared. By then, the respect and admiration the Blade Runner had once commanded from South Africans was long gone.
For me, Oscar will kind of slip silently into the night. I think that most South Africans feel that while he was a pin-up for a long time, and as he was around the world, I think that they will now feel that he's in the right place, so to speak. And I think that South Africans certainly will kind of turn their back in a sense that they will want it to be an episode or a chapter that's firmly put behind them.
It has been an astonishing fall from grace for the former Olympian and Paralympian, who in 2013 was at the peak of his powers. He had just ordered a new supercar. His endorsement deals were lifelong, including from a prosthetics company that supplied the US military. The Blade Runner would never have to work a day in his life again. He was set until that tragic night on Valentine's Day a decade ago, when the man who stood for so much in a country desperate for inspiration, life changed forever. CS du Plessis, CGTN, Johannesburg.